Okay, we seem to be having a little bit of technical difficulties. Both myself and Natalia, our screens froze up. So we're going to chat while we wait for her to come back in. She was talking about being the youngest candidate ever in our country's history, and she was starting to say that she has to work doubly hard, I guess, in order to prove herself and to make her mark in these elections. Usually, in our country's history, we don't give young people a chance. We have had a lot of old politicians, is the only way to say it. They serve many terms, and the country has been crying out for new blood, for fresh ideas. And I believe that we have that in Natalia and a lot of the PEP candidates, to be quite honest. Okay, I think we're back.
Hi.
Natalia?
Yes.
Okay, so we got off to a bumpy start, but you were saying
Yes, we did.
that
That's
because you're
okay.
so young, go ahead.
I was literally saying that because I'm so young, it doesn't feel like I broke history. It feels like I have to work a lot harder to prove myself, to prove that, I am a worthy candidate. I can make Laventille better than it is, right? You know, it feels like I have to work a lot harder in convincing them. Yes, I'm 19 years old, but yes, I know what I'm doing.
Indeed, I don't think age really should be a factor. A lot of companies, big organizations have been founded by young people, vibrant young people with great ideas. And, I'm just so happy and proud of you that you are bringing this to this election. So we're going to go into your interview now. Tell us about your constituency of Laventille West.
Okay, so Lavender West, I tell everybody it's a very magical constituency, and I say that because there are times when I walk through certain areas very late at night, and I would see people commenting on my live videos saying, why you did that hour, it's so late, be careful, and the people were very welcoming. I think that's just a bad name and a bad stigma that is attached to this particular constituency. I don't think that's how it is because I've been there almost after 9 in the night. After 8 minutes to 9 in the night, I haven't reached home yet. I'm still talking to people in the community because they're still coming outside and they still want to chat with me. And that's how it is. So I believe the stigma, it's wrong in a sense because these people are so friendly. They're so nice. They were locals who were willing to show me around and show me the things that were wrong in the community, right? Aside from it being magical, it is still one of the communities that is poorly developed. And I say that because if you walk through Lavender West like I did, you would see that most of the houses, okay, like a half of the houses don't have mailboxes. Do you know how weird that is? But I say weird because it's weird for me. But for somebody who hasn't had a mailbox to pass however long, probably 30, 40 years, it isn't something new to them. It's like, okay, I know I have to go to the postal office to get whatever meals I have to collect. And that doesn't make sense because there's a postal office right in Laventille itself, right? So it doesn't make sense. Um
Yeah, but
so
it speaks to the failure of the past administrations to treat Laventille with the respect and the dignity that it deserves.
yes
And
it
I have to
does.
commend you because that is one of the things I really enjoy watching you on the campaign trail. I like how you have really humanized the residents of Laventille and how you have highlighted the beauty of the community, the natural beauty, the flora, the fauna. And I really think that that is necessary because the country as a whole needs to become more soft in their hearts where Laventille is concerned. And I like how you are approaching that. So
You know,
tell us about
I
the work that you're doing on the ground.
well, so most of the work that I've been doing on the ground so far is, asking the residents what they want to see different about their communities. You know, because yes, I may go around and I may see things, but really and truly, I live in one part of Lavendale. So in that part, I'll definitely know what needs to be changed. But in their part of Lavendale, they would be the ones that know what needs to be changed, and they would be the ones who have solutions to the problems. Right? That they are facing on a daily basis. I talk to these people and they're like, we never see these people. We never ever see these people. And this is the first time a lady told me just the other day. This is a disabled person. I went to her house because I was in Boxall Trees, and she told me, it's very nice to see somebody coming back here. This is one of the places they won't even step. We
Oh,
never
wow.
see them. So yeah, and I've been talking to young people as well. I've been asking them what they would like to see change in their community. Some say they like more fields. We have a Point Pleasant Park in Laventille, and I have to say it's it's a very nice name. So I have to say it very nicely. One of the people were telling me, when we go to one of the government offices, they ask us, "Where is Point Pleasant Park in Laventille?" So it's Point Pleasant Park. The people are very friendly, and I
Yes, it
asked
sounds
them,
very
what are
fancy.
it sounds very fancy. I asked, one of the things they would like to see, and there is this, they call it the pavilion, and it's incomplete for many, many years. One of the residents she was telling me, she doesn't, she doesn't know why they don't come and complete it. It's incomplete. The building is it's just four walls and everything else is hollow, right? There is nothing inside of it at all. The grass is grown, and yeah, it's not what a basketball, football, what an
Pavilion should be,
activity
yes.
court should be, right? There's exercise equipment that is turned over and grass is growing over it. It's beaten, it's weather beaten, you can tell, and nobody's going there to see that. And one of the opponents, I should say, I'm not in one of my styles is not to say anything. I don't like to say bad things about people, but one of my opponents, he walked through that area, and the guy was telling me he walked through the area and he literally walked past that same pavilion and didn't even give it two thoughts. That's ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
How could you do that? Yeah. And one of the
Indeed.
things I
So, go ahead,
uh
love.
huh. No, I said one of the things that I do before I go on a walk is that I make sure that I let God guide my path. And I say that because there are places that I never would have walked if I didn't take a chance and say, let me just go further down the street and see what's happening. And then you see the bigger picture. You don't see half the story, you see everything.
Indeed, indeed. So I really like that approach because even when I was a candidate for a very short while and I wasn't able to fulfill that because I'm still stuck in the US. But I was thinking that I didn't want to go into the community assuming that I know what the constituents want or need because I live there. And I like your approach of, finding out what it is people need and what people want and what are their issues. So, what are the major issues facing the constituents? You mentioned there's no, dilapidated fields, etc. What else?
One of the major things, right? I think there's two major things I should mention. There is the water issue, which there shouldn't be because there are a lot of drainage systems running straight off into the ocean. Um, and then there's a lot of pathways that when rain falls, water floods out a lot of places. So there really shouldn't be a water issue enough until I think the main issue is that they don't know how to catch, hold, treat, redistribute. That's it. Um, Another one of the main issues that they have is that they have really bad roads. I don't know if you could go up on the Lavender West page, you will see a picture of the road in Boxhill Trace is literally sinking, and that's not Boxhill Trace alone, that's Prisca Lands. Prisca Lands has a road that when you walk up on it, there's like holes everywhere. Um,
Oh
yeah,
wow.
everywhere that you go, there is holes in the road, and that was a ministry of works and transport. Excuse me. I'm just saying, right? There are holes everywhere, and these are not potholes, so these are swimming pools.
I know, like
There is
craters.
the yes. No, they're literally swimming pools because when they when rain falls, it gets filled with water. I think I should go read in one of these days. But the point is, it's really big and it's really deep, and there are roads that cars can't pass on. Literally, there are roads that separate the top of a street from the bottom of the street because they cannot pass. Um, no, it's ridiculous.
I
It's
know this
ridiculous.
country is overdue for a major renovation because in talking to other candidates as well, a lot of people highlight the same issues: the abandonment, poor roads, no water, crime. You know, so Laventille West is not unique in that sense. You know, it has been heavily neglected, but
It
it
has.
is very similar to a lot of the other communities in Trinidad and Tobago. I know we have a lot of policies. Which one of them in particular resonates with you the most?
What we which one resonates with me? I would believe it would be the water policy. However, at the same time, it would be the health policy. I say that because water is very essential, but at the same time, I know when it comes to getting ambulances into Laventille, it's a stress. You have to wait 2-3 hours. When they coming up, they have to come with police, like if we're going to shoot them or rob them or something like
Yes,
that. And they take forever to come. I remember one of my uncles had a stroke and the ambulance came and it was forever. So that is one of the things that I like. I like, when they say we must have first world health care. We need to say
in
that
your
again
own
for the people in the back
community.
who doesn't hear that. First world healthcare in my own community. And one of the things that I say I would use that policy for is to everybody says just split it up into 41. I would love to see, two or even three health facilities in Atlanta West because it's extremely big. And if you see the map behind me, I'll point it out, right? If we have one in
Yes,
Beaton, right? If we have one in
yes,
Beaton, that would facilitate the people there, so they won't have to go somewhere inside of Laventille West, right, to get a health facility. And if we have one right in the middle, or even one in Upper St. Babs to cater for St. Babs and Belmont area, right? And we have one
yes,
in Success to cater for the middle part of Laventille West, that'd be great. These facilities will be open 24/7. I say 24/7 because I don't want a facility that's closing 5 o'clock. Somebody to have an emergency, but this facility is closed. Um,
yes.
that doesn't work in my book, right? This was facilitate all the doctors and nurses that live in lab until they'll be working closer to home now, right? They'll be working closer to home. They'll
True.
be better, more time to spend with their family. They'll be on rotation, so they'll have time on their hands. They won't be in work all the hours of the day. It'll be great.
Indeed, indeed. I can see you're very passionate about that. So I
Yes.
know PEP had to be really special for someone so young to be aligned with it. But in your own words, why do you think the Progressive Empowerment Party is the best political vehicle right now in Trinidad? And why are you a candidate for PEP?
Um. Okay. So I don't know if anybody knew this, but I earlier on in my life, I wanted nothing to do with politics, and then I came across Philip, and I was like, okay, whatever. There's somebody ranting on my Facebook page about nothing and what's not. Them politicians don't really care. And I tell people this because I need them to understand when you get into the Progressive Empowerment Party, it's totally different from what you see on the internet, right? You may see us, you see the branding, and you may see us, doing this and doing that, but behind the scenes, this is a family. Don't take that for granted, right? These people are extremely nice. They're extremely respectful, and they help you in a lot of things. That's how I always like doing graphics, and this is a personal story of mine. And every time I do a graphic, I just share it with the head of media, and also candidate for St. Augustine, Sati Shamsharan. And he would tell me, Natalia, it looks good, but you need to do a little switches, change the color here, make it a little brighter. We're trying to, and I was like, okay, fine. Nice. I would go and change it. And along the way, after a few months, I got better and better and better at it. And he encouraged me along the way, to continuously, go forward with graphics and to, be
Yes.
that, yeah. Without, so
Mm.
the Progressive Empowerment Party is very encouraging. They're very supportive. I don't know if you'll find that anywhere else, and that's just me personally. That's why I offered up myself to be a candidate, because aside from knowing that you have people there that always have your back, you also want to help the people in the community and give them the kind of support that you receive in this political engine. And that's why I'm here in the Progressive Empowerment Party. Uh, and
Indeed, we really
yeah,
are like a family. So time has quickly slipped away, and
it
we lost a
has.
couple minutes when the internet went down. But I'm gonna give you 1 minute to tell the constituents of Laventille West why they should vote for you.
Why should you vote Natalia more? In all honesty, I try to be as very honest and transparent that I can be. I am not going to come in your constituency and bamboozle you. That's not what I'm here about, right? I'm here for you to show me. I'm here for you to, I'm here to be on the same level and same playing field with you. We're going to be honest. We're going to be literally the most transparent people that we're going to be. I am not going to come and sell you false dreams and promises, because for the last 19 years, I've been sold false dreams and promises. And I tell a lot of people when I go to the community, you know, if I was in your position, I would love for somebody to come in my community and be like, this is how I'm going to do something. So when you see me in your community, ask me how, because I'm going to tell you how. I'm not going to give you a run around the roses. Oh, yeah, I'll do that when I come into government. That's not my style of politics. And if you expect me to come into your community and bad talk anybody else, that's not my style of politics either. I'm not going to, yes, there are things that need to fix, but I'm not going to be like, yeah, that's his fault and that's her fault. We're too old for this blame game, right? And if you expect me to come into your community and only showcase the bad, like the potholes and water and no mailboxes and how horribly they treat disabled people, then forget it, because that's not my style of politics either. I will come, I will show the bad, but I will also show the good, because there are many wonderful views in Laventille, right? There are many wonderful views, they're picturesque, right? That I can showcase as well, right? So, no, that's not me, that's not my style, that's not how I do things, and that's why you should vote for me, right? If that can do, just know that's the truth and should convince you.
Well said, Natalia. And I want to encourage you to continue to be you, want to continue to be unique, and to reach the constituents the best way that you know how. So thank you for joining us this morning.
Ooh,
This is the end of your interview.
one more thing, Hadassah, I forgot to say. Okay, so I was invited by the residents of Cinnababs to come to their family lime on Saturday, the 1st of August, and I will be there. I will be there. So if you are there or you're walking around in that facility, come and meet me. I'll be in my orange pep shirt as usual. I think I've adapted the style of always wearing a pep shirt wherever I go now. Um, so yes, I'll be there. Come meet me if you're passing. If you're in the family there itself, come on, come meet me. Come talk to me. Come tell me, what are you suffering from? What are your woes in your community? So I will be there on August the 1st, which is Saturday coming, in the Barcelona, in the Sibabs court at the top next to the gas station. I will be there August 1st.
Awesome. Thank you, Natalia, and all the best on your campaign. We're going to take
Thank
a break
you.
now. And you're welcome, honey. We're going to take a break now and we're going to come back and we're going to have a very special second half of the show. We have a surprise in store for you.
We vote MPP. Progressive Empowerment Party. We vote MPP. Progressive Empowerment Party. Now it's time for real change. We don't want no exchange. PEP is real change. The rest of them is exchange. Now it's time for real change. We don't want no exchange. Now it's time for real change. We vote MPP. Progressive Empowerment Party. We vote MPP. Put your X by PEP. Progressive Empowerment Party. Save TNT. Vote PEP. August 10th. Save TNT. Vote PEP.
And we are back. And I have the pleasure of introducing to you the candidate for Diego Martin Central, Felicia Holder. And it's my honor to interview her today. Good morning, Felicia.
Good morning, Hadassah. Good morning to all the peppers. It feels weird to be on this side of the screen this morning, but let's do it.
Indeed, it's like the Twilight Zone. So everything is upside down, wrong side out. But thank you for entrusting me with your show for the last couple of days.
No, thank you, Hadassah, for doing yeoman service. You stepped in right when the campaign trail got extremely heavy, and you basically were my breath of fresh air in that you allowed me to do other things, as in hit the ground, etc. So thank you for that. Thank you and Michelle and our producer, Mr. Daniel Jackson, who's behind the scenes making the program work. Thank you guys so much. And for the next 10 days, I really look forward to taking this as far as we could take it, actually taking it into government with the help of this show and all of the people behind it. So that's my thanks to you guys.
Indeed, no problem. It was my pleasure. So we're going to get into your interview, but first let us play your bio.
Nice.
Candidate for Digger Martin Central, Felicia Holder. Chairman of the Progressive Empowerment Party, Felicia is also the head of the Finance Committee, a director of the non-profit arm of the organization, and host of a weekly political commentary program broadcast on social media. A lover of music, culture, and the arts, her involvement ranges from true Trini reveler, evident in her unabashed participation in annual carnival celebrations, to her quiet pastimes such as local theatre. Though she has a background of close to 8 years in corporate communications, she discovered an untapped passion when she entered into the political arena at just 28 years old, going on to run as a local government candidate under the Progressive Empowerment Party at the age of 30. Now, 2 years later, she has added young entrepreneur to her portfolio, astutely turning years of experience in both the corporate and political worlds into a growing business model. Fast learner, passionate, and kind. It is her dream to take these intrinsic values and use it to the betterment of her country, standing firm in the belief that we are the change we have been waiting for. She is humbled and proud to offer herself in service to Trinidad and Tobago.
So weird
Wonderful.
listening to you. So weird listening to those things being read about yourself.
Indeed. I hated having to write mine too. I don't like that.
It is. All
So,
right, well, I'm at your
how has it been
mercy. So,
going? Let's go. How has it been going? What is it like? What has this
um,
experience taught you?
to be honest, Hadassah, it has been one of the most intense experiences of my life. When I say intense, every morning I wake up and the first thing that clicks in my head when my alarm finally drag myself off that bed, I tell myself, based on the day, well, this morning, 10 more days. And I mean, last night we had a meeting with Sean, Philip, went on for about until about 12:30 last night. And I was saying, guys, when I just started join this party, I always used to imagine what the end would be like. And when I say what the end would be, we always knew that we would going to have to contest a general election. And I know that experience would have been.
Okay, okay.
And
It looks like Felice. Go ahead.
was I lost there for a second?
Just for a second, but I think we have you back now.
Nice. I took a moment to just reflect on where we have arrived at in our journey. And I have to say, it's been a real I have to say it's one of the best things I've ever done in my life, hitting the ground and seeing the work that you put in for the past 3.5, almost 4 years translate on the ground. So when you meet people, one of the first things I ask is, do you know the pep? And they say, yeah, Philip Alexander. And they say, yeah, what's your show on the morning? I met a lady like that yesterday. So Miss Rebecca, big up to yourself. I know you're watching this morning since you say you're a very strong supporter of this morning show. So it's really encouraging, like I say, because this mission has been, it started on social media, being blocked by the mainstream media. We had to form and find our own ways of getting the message out to the people. And now here 3.5, almost 4 years later, about to contest a general election. It's the culmination of all of the hard work that we in this party have put in. And I have to say, being a very results oriented person, it's very encouraging to hear on the ground and see your efforts actually materialize in the form of what and in the form of promises that you're going to get people's votes.
Indeed. Indeed. So the hard work has not been in vain and will not be in vain.
Definitely
So
not.
tell us about your constituency of Diego Martin Central.
Diego Martin Central, my new second home. For those who know me, I was not born in. Actually, I was born in Diego Martin Central. To be honest, I was born in a health. Some I know my mom said I was born like literally delivered in Diego Martin. um, but I grew up in Belmont for first Tunapuna, and I was about a few years old, maybe 1, 2. My first year of my life, I lived in Tunapuna. For the rest of my life, I lived Belmont. I'm 32 years of age now, so I'm a Belmont girl, homegrown. And, I spent some of my time as a child in Pitti Valley, which falls under Diego Martin Central. And that was actually one of the first areas that I visited when I started walking the ground in Diego Martin Central. It's an area called Cocoja. And one thing I have to say about my community, it's very diverse in terms of it's a large area. Not I wouldn't say it's the largest because there are bigger constituencies like Mayaro, etc. But it's a large constituency, but it's very diverse in terms of the people that you would find comprising the constituency. So you have what would be considered the affluent areas like the Diamond Vales and the those along Mount Coco Road and Alice Glen, etc. And West Hills, which is a new development that was built near Pity Valley. And then you have the underserved communities like the Coco Jars and the Bagatelle and those near La Puerta and Cocorita, etc. So I've seen, on the ground, I've seen that very diverse those diverse communities. I've seen I don't want to call it a class, the haves and the have-nots, the ones who have access to more opportunities versus those who are struggling for opportunities. And within the community itself, I mean, that describes the people, but the actual community, the actual constituency of Diego Martin Central. So we have the diverse people. We also have the fact that it has been in certain parts a neglected area, and it seems like a common trend along across this country. For example, the Diego Martin Main Road, which they 2 weeks before election decided to dig up to pave, but prior to that, that road was just in a state of absolute disrepair. The Diego Martin
Disrepair.
River, which runs parallel to this main road, literally has silt and grass and garbage in it. And Diego Martin, which for anybody who knows, it's in a basin, Diego Martin Central. You look to your left, you see mountains, you look to your right, you see mountains. So that actual basin itself is the perfect water catchment area. And the river itself, when water gushes down there, if it's not dredged, you have issues of flooding and that same water, unfortunately, which we wash into the ocean and doesn't get into the pipes of the residents of the community, because that's another issue. Some of them, particularly those who live in the more hilly areas, they have problems with water. And Diamond Field, Diego Martin has had a problem for water in certain areas over the years. There's also the common trend again, lack of opportunities for the youths in the community. You see them at the side of the road, the ones who selling weed, the ones who selling cocaine, the ones who just spending their time on the block and probably have a gun in their pocket, because crime is also an issue in certain parts of the community. And I speak about these things particularly the affluent side versus the underserved side, because as much as the affluent and the middle to upper class side don't have to deal with issues like crime and drugs and guns and teenage pregnancy within the underserved communities, when these people who live in 2 3 minutes from them can't get a salary grant, resenting them because
Indeed.
they get in water 3 and 4 times a week, who you think they come in to rob and distress. So as a community, that division that we have is definitely something that needs to be bridged, that gap. Diego Martin is too small, and when I say too small, yes, the landmass is significant, but 29,000 people is too small to have so much of a class division amongst the residents. Communities, a nation is a collection of communities, and we have a broken community in Diego Martin Central, definitely.
So, would you say one of the things you would like to accomplish in Diego Martin Central, were you to be elected the MP, would be to close the gap between, say, classes?
Definitely. I mean, that issue that was raised when I was in Kokoja, where you stand at the bottom of the hill, you could literally see across the road, which is a less than a 2 minute drive, to these new apartment buildings, where Sills that was built, brand new, very posh, upper middle class kind of apartment. And across the road, you literally have these neglected communities who can't even get water. And when a resident can tell you, is we don't think that water is impossible to get here, but those in the richer areas getting the water before those here, you obviously creating a division in society, and it has to be an intentional division, because I don't understand what kind of magical science going on in Wassa, what kind of engineering that allowing water to be diverted to the left side of the road but not the right side of the road. And I don't understand what it is that is, in 2020, how we haven't figured out how to get water uphill yet. The first video that I did in Diego Martin was in Kokoja, and the residents themselves, those who live up on a certain hill, they had to actually put pipes together to get water to the top of the hill. And if you see the contraptment, Hadassah, it
I saw it.
uh, yeah, and it was very disturbing to me to hear them say, you know, those across the road, them in that apartment, they getting water and we can't. Because what are you saying as what are you trying to do to that community? You're obviously forming a gap that would lead to resentments, that would lead to confusion, and that would further divide us along other lines. They already tried to divide us along racial lines, along religious lines. Now you're trying to divide us between those who have and those who have not, when the opportunity, when it exists, the possibility of bridging that gap. So yes, in terms of the leveling the playing field, that is something I certainly want to do. I also did a video this week. There's a playing field, well, the Diego Martin Sporting Complex and mini stadium that the PNM government was very
Yes.
proud to open in 2019 and warn the citizens. I was told that Rowdy doesn't threaten. He warns. He warns the citizens that be careful who you give your vote to, because we're the only government who saw it fit to complete this facility. This facility that was rumored to cost over $240 million in cost overruns that the residents themselves constantly complaining that they can't use. It was built at the junction of a community, Bagatelle Savannah Road number 1. It was built at the junction of the Diego Martin West, Diego Martin Central, and Diego Martin Northeast constituencies. If you stand in the road, if you look left, you would be in Diego Martin West. If you look north, you would be in Diego Martin Central. If you look right, you'd be in Diego Martin Northeast, which is so crazy. But it's the junction of those three constituencies, and it was meant to serve those constituencies. Yet the process to even use the field is so cumbersome. You have to write an email or a letter to UDCOT, which was the company responsible for building and I'm guessing doing the administration for the facility. You have to write a letter to UDCOT, wait for a response, and then pay $1,000 to go and kick a ball. Now, looking at the community and the area where it was built, it is reasonable to expect that these young children can't pay $1,000 every time they want to go and play a
Yeah.
half an hour small group. So what use was that facility? What use was all of the noise that you made about we are bringing development to Diego Martin when the people who you so-called build this for can't even use it? And that's the argument that I make. We spend so much money. We spend unnecessary money in this country. They took away the free recreational grounds and they gave them that sporting complex, to which it stands as a monument of failure. The residents to whom it was meant to benefit, they cannot even benefit and use the facility. So, I mean, looking at the fact that
Indeed.
we have so many um, people who have been left behind, we have that class division, we have that, well, it is a class division. Those are things that definitely I would love to address and, bring to Diego Martin Central, a leveling of the playing field in all areas.
Okay. So tell me, have you been able to successfully convey your plans to the constituents, and what has been the general response?
I have been meeting with people in pockets of groups. I don't want to give on my what you call it, my
Strategy?
campaigning strategy to those spies from the other parties who I know they can't throw their big fancy rallies because of COVID-19. So they're desperate to find ways to actually reach the ground, not understanding that reaching the ground means actually reaching the people. And to their disadvantage, they have a track record, which is making it difficult for them to prove. On my end, I am a fresh breath of air. I am a fresh slate. And not only am I coming to talk change and new ideas, I'm coming to bring real solutions to the people. So I have been able to convey that 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 fact that I would like to level the playing field, because they live it, they feel it every day. They see what's going on in the community, so they build that sporting complex and they rush in to finish an arima not arima a health center, which we all know will not be opened until whenever, because it don't have staff, it don't have equipment. That's what we do. We build buildings and cut ribbons and say development. They
Yes.
rush to open the community center. All of these things that they rush to bring at the community, they feel it. They feel the fact that after all of this and after all your claim to give us, our situations, our living circumstances, they're not any better. So when I come to the community and I talk about abolishing the SE and making all schools prestige schools, zoned schools, 10-year schools, so that if a child from Kokoja, an underserved community, or a child from Diamond Vale, an affluent community, can both attend a prestige school right in their constituency, they latch on to the idea because they've never heard things like that. They've only ever had buildings thrown at them, and they've only ever heard, we do this for you and look what we build. But they've never had a real government. They've never had representation that spoke about uplifting their minds and not pie in the sky dream. I read in the papers yesterday, an economist
Mhm.
said that the UNC's economic plan
Yes,
is
I saw that too.
is is
Well,
what is it?
unlikely and unrealistic or
Unlikely,
something like that.
unlikely and
Yes.
unrealistic. And I mean, I was like,
Yes.
thank God somebody said it. I mean, I didn't read
Somebody
the
said it. Yes.
entire article, so I don't know if this was a paid political attack from a PNM paid economist, but whether
Mhm.
he was paid or not, I'm glad somebody finally
It's
said
the
it,
truth.
because even they're talking about creating 50,000 jobs. I will create 50,000 jobs, and they can't tell you how. When I go into Diego Martin Central and I say, fellas on the block, y'all really want to be doing this? Let me tell you something. You see them boys on the block, they be tired, you know. I mean, you know what it is to be up all 2, 3 o'clock in the morning selling weed? Like that, that's not your first choice. They
Yeah.
want to sleep. These youths want to sleep,
Yeah.
but they also want to make money, and they also want to be able to pay the bills, and they also want to be able to buy data to have on their phone. Chinese, they want very little, they want to just live
Candidate
comfortably.
for Digomar.
So when I talk about making sure that those who have um competencies in masonry and carpentry and other vocational skills, that we want to make sure they have certification that they can present as evidence of their competency, not just the experience that they have under their belts and nothing to back it up. They latch on and they are interested in ideas like these. When I talk about leveling the playing field in terms of education, they are blown away because, again, they've never heard a party talk the way the Progressive Empowerment Party talks. So I have been, reaching out to residents one at a time, groups at a time, telling them, not not just telling them things that they want to hear, but telling them and offering them actual solutions to the current issues that plague the actual constituency. Did I answer
Wonderful.
your question?
Wonderful.
I
Yes.
think I did.
So you mentioned a lot of things. We talk about the disparity between classes, problems for water, jobs, etc. But which of these would you consider a major issue, and which one you'd want to tackle were you to get into government right away?
When I ask this question on the show, every time I ask it, I am interested to hear what my guests would say as their answer. And sitting now in the seat, I can understand why so many of them say they would like to tackle all, because it is so hard to prioritize hard to prioritize the needs when the community is in urgent need of having all of those things prioritized at the same time. Um if I had to if I have to pick one,
Well, it's like this. Think of you have a patient that's on life support. What
yes.
is the first thing that you need to do to keep the patient breathing? And then we could deal with everything else.
All right. To be honest, I would start with education. I would start with education, as in putting the wheels on the ground to fix the education system, because it starts from young. We grew up
Yes,
being told that the behaviors that you learn, they happen at a young age, which is why good parenting is so important. That whole nature versus nurture um debate. Nature is very important in the development and the well-being of a child. I look right here in Belmont, in my actual community, which sometimes feels like a mirror, or Diego Martin sometimes feels like a mirror of that.
yes,
I look in the community here. I grew up here, it's my hometown, like I say, and the I see how, I don't want to say poor access, but I see how those who were not offered the same opportunities to be educated the way others were offered opportunities to be educated in prestige schools. I see how, again, that has divided and created that further, destruction and disparity of our societies. So those who do the CDSE and pass for a prestige school, they have a better fighting chance in life. And I would like somebody to do a study on that, because and I know it would be hard to find, but if somebody were to do an actual study on that, you would see the evidence point to the fact that those who are offered prestige education, they go on most times to have a better chance in life. Those who are not, those who
yes.
have to fight up the senior comprehensive and the senior secondary and the junior sec, they are at an
Fall
obvious
behind.
disadvantage.
Disadvantage.
And
Yes,
and telling a child at 10 and 11 years old that you are determining who you would be when you are 25, 26, 30 years old, that is insane. And that is another level of abuse. The exam itself is abuse. And that the determining and putting well, let me say, use the word determining their lives and who they will be 10 and 20 years later is unfair to a child at 10 years old, at 11 years old.
yes.
So definitely I would want to attack that education system, because I see, if we can create the opportunities for all of society. Look at it now. All of those children who went to prestige schools, all of those who went to the junior sex schools, not all, but the percentage, the majority, look at where they are in life now. Look at how the prestige went on to be doctors, lawyers, engineers. Not all. I do like to be absolute. So those who want to palm me for it, please, I'm not being absolute. But look at those who went to the other schools, the failed schools, like they sometimes call them. Where are they in life now? Why can't it be that from young we ensure that children all have the same access to the same levels of education, same opportunities, so that we can grow, when a child grows up, if they choose to be to not be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, it's not because they didn't have, it's not because they didn't want to. No, sorry, not because they were forced to, but it's because they didn't want to. And that is what I want to see happen in society. I want to be able to bring to Diego Martin Central from young, that leveling of the playing field in education. I think it starts from there. That's one of the root causes, and of course, I would tackle the other things after that.
Well said, Felicia. So I know you talk about water a lot, but would you say that education is the education policy of the Progressive Empowerment Party is the policy that resonates the most with you?
It's not a policy that resonates the most with me. It's a policy that I think Diego Martin Central and the rest of Trinidad, of course, and Tobago, but it's a policy that I think Diego Martin Central desperately
Me.
needs. We need to start from young and train them, so that, well, not train them, but start from young to set the foundation for the society we want to be, the society we want to see. The policy that resonates the most with me, though, is our water policy. Yeah, I love it. I studied it. I feel it's the most amount of common sense that I have ever heard in life as it pertains to tackling things as a country. And I mean, of course, it's going to benefit Diego Martin Central, but as a country itself, I love our water management policy. I love the idea that we have so much rainfall, 100 times the amount of rainfall that we need. I love the idea that in the areas that have so much rainfall, we can catch it and store it and treat it and distribute it to that community, or even channel it to other constituencies that are, and also in need of water. Diego Martin has natural springs. We live in a valley, so that valley collects water. I mean, basic geography, Form 3 geography taught me that water moves from areas of higher concentration to areas of lower concentration. And where the areas of lower concentration meet, you can actually store and create um, catchment facilities like dams and lakes, etc., man-made lakes, to be used to serve the community. So water is by far my favorite policy. And it's one that I think, if there's what I tell myself this, if there's one thing that the Progressive Empowerment Party could ever bring to Trinidad and Tobago that will change the lives of the 21 policies, there's one thing we ever get to do, and that will change lives, is water. Trinidad and Tobago will never
Indeed.
forget the government that brought them water 24/7. Of course, we aiming to do all 21.
True, but what is life? And sometimes I think about people who don't have jobs, but if they had water 24/7, it could make such a difference if you want to cook and sell, and it is really a revolutionary policy. Well, we've spoken a bit, Felicia. Go ahead.
No, no, I was agreeing with you. Saying it is. I mean, exactly that. If you had to fix one thing, imagine that you're getting up and you're going. You don't want to go to work. You hate the fact that you're going to pack a box of KFC. You hate the fact that you're not making enough money. But hey, you know what? When I open my tap at 6 o'clock to get ready to work, or get open my tap at 6 p.m. to get ready to go to work, guess what? There's always water coming out of it.
Water.
We opened this water 6 years ago. Pep delivering water within our 5 years. They will vote us in, definitely vote us back in. Performance is what people want to do. That is you. Definitely one that would gain us points to the people. Anyway, you go ahead, ma'am.
So true. Well, we have already proven our ability to deliver. So, in your own words, why do you think PEP is the best political vehicle in Trinidad right now? And why are you a candidate for PEP?
The Progressive Empowerment Party is the best political vehicle in Trinidad and Tobago because we are disconnected from the people who have an interest in preserving the status quo. We are disconnected from the people who have an interest in making sure that some of our children go to prestige schools and some of our children go on to failed schools. We are disconnected from the people who want to make sure we don't have water 24/7 so that their friends and financiers who sell water tanks and pumps can stay in business. We are a party that talks development of minds, not building buildings. We're a party that talks about leveling the playing field, creating hope and opportunity for all, teaching a man how to fish, not handing him a fish in the form of $200 wrapped up in a red or a yellow jersey every 5 or 4 years. We're a party that believes the well-being of the people is the reason, purpose, and function of government. And that's why I am a representative for the Progressive Empowerment Party. I could have gone up under the red or the yellow, but I don't believe you can change a broken system. You would actually become a part of the broken system. It's best
A
it's
part of
better to start with
exactly.
scratch. it's better to create something that is absolutely disconnected from the failures that we have experienced before. And I am offering myself to service because the people of Trinidad and Tobago deserve service. We talk about customer service. We see it in Parliament. They're supposed to be serving us as customers. We are their customers. And what do? They take our vote, they get into Parliament, and they use, they ride our coattails to serve their own interests. I would like to bring real customer service in terms of real government, real representation to the people of Trinidad and Tobago and Diego Martin Central.
Well said. I believe your answer has already started to segue into the final question, which is tell the constituents of Diego Martin Central why they should and need to vote for you.
I told myself when I started this interview, because I know these questions and I ask them every day. It's gonna be like a walk in the park for me. I'm not saying it's
A
been
look at the
difficult, but I swear
park.
it still feels as if I am in a brand new interview, even though I talk this almost every single day for the past couple weeks. Diego Martin Central, and I look directly at the camera and I say this, Diego Martin Central. I, like I said earlier, you know, Trinidad and Tobago, we have elected people who we have voted out government. We've never actually had the opportunity to vote in a government, and I say that because we've only ever been revolving between red and yellow, and it is about time that you put somebody in parliament who only had your interests at mind, who is not interested in getting into government to buy the newest BMW series, who's not interested in getting into government to go and get lip injections and pay for all of the hair extensions that they always wanted to buy, who is actually interested in getting into government to work. This party was built from the ground up. There's never been a political party. Last time we were talking about it, Keith Rowley and Kamala Persad-Bissessar, you think if they leave the PNM and the UNC, they can build their own political party on disconnected from the contract money and keep it running for as long as we have. There's no other party that has done that. There's no other party that is contesting an election on a national level that is not the two red and yellow parties. And that is the Progressive Empowerment Party. We are a hardworking, extremely hardworking team. And if you want to see that translate in government, put us in that parliament and watch us work for you. Put me as your representative in parliament and watch me work.
Well said. Felicia, this has been an absolute pleasure. I know you have an event this evening. I don't know if you want to tell the viewers about it.
I do want to tell the viewers about it. People, I got an office in Diego Martin Central. Yay! Corner Brunton Avenue and Diego Martin Main Road. And this evening at 5 p.m., I invite you to come and meet me. Come meet your candidate. I will be serving refreshments to go because social distancing rules still apply. But I am definitely inviting you to come out from 5 p.m. to meet with me, to hear my plans to the constituency, to interact with other like-minded peppers in Diego Martin Central. It's going to be a nice little lime. It's not going to be anything no loud music and no fetting and no rum and alcohol kind of events. That's not what we're about. At the end of the day, it's still serious issues, but it's still the home of the Progressive Empowerment Party, Diego Martin candidate. And should you put me in office, who knows? It might be my office for my when I get man. So come meet with me this evening, Brunton Avenue and Diego Martin Main Road from 5 p.m. For those who don't know where that is, it is 2 streets before West End Police Station if you are heading north. So thank you.
All right, Trinidad and Tobago, you heard it from the lady herself. This is going to be the last installment of Pep Talks in the Morning for a while. And it has been an absolute pleasure hosting today with Felicia. And I think it's only right to give her the opportunity to close off the show as she's here.
Oh, Trina, listen, I made a decision that who knows might be reverted, but I made a decision because next week is the last week before election. So if we hitting the ground hard, we hitting it even harder next week. So with that said, I have decided to stick a tiny pin in the show. Maybe if you'll petition, that might change because I mean, Hadassah, you're doing such a wonderful job. I'm almost wondering why am I even bothering to do that. We will discuss it over the weekend. But as for right now, we want to stick a small piece. Hadassah is doing a no. We're sticking a small pin at least until elections is over. Something exciting things coming up for the party. We are opening our drum roll, our soon to be our campaign office. Look out for that activity because it's going to be a nice media launch, inviting all of the media to come see our new headquarters. Yes, for those who have been asking when are we coming back to Port of Spain, our new headquarters are going to be soon. It is going to be where we will be on election night, celebrating and counting down and counting the votes as we gear up to see who is going to be your next government. So look out for that information. Most likely it will be next Wednesday. We're inviting all our peppers, all of Trinidad and Tobago to come be a part of the office opening. Um, until then, though, Trinidad and Tobago, I really want to thank you for being with us in the morning. Sometimes I wonder, is this show reaching people? And then I see people who tell me, I watch your show, and I'm like, even though I don't catch it in the morning, friends, and that gives me so much encouragement because it means that we are reaching to the hearts of the nation. And Hadassah, Michelle, Christian, Danielle, Satish, all of
Satish.
our guests
Yeah.
who have passed through here, guys. I kudos to you. Thank you so much for making Pep Talks on a morning what it is. Thank you for helping me and helping us create another platform to reach the people. I don't think you can ever understand, just what this would mean and what this has meant for some people in this country who thought that talk shows in the morning was just more old noise and bacchanal and rah-rah, and they finally tuned into something that actually discusses real issues that brings real solutions to people. So kudos to all of you. Like I say, we're sticking a momentary pin. That is just to give us more time on the ground. But we will be back, and of course, when we come back, we will advertise that day. Until then, we are counting down 10 days until election. Those who can help, support, donate, please reach out to me, 769-4590. Those who can be on the ground, those who can volunteer on election day, we need those things. Thank you for staying with us. COVID-19 is back in what seems like full swing, so remember to stay together by staying apart. And of course, Hadassah, you want to say this with me? Safety and
Yes. To save
safety
TNT, vote
vote.
PB.
We gonna take care of Trinidad and Tobago.
Bye.
Safety and tea, we vote